special Village of Waterford Board meeting on Monday, November 24th, 2025 at exactly 6 p.m. Before we pledge to the flag, I'm going to do something a little out of our ordinary routine and character. And I'm going to take a moment for everybody here and for everybody at home that's listening to just do a quick refresher on the First Amendment in this country. I think this is important that we revisit this every once in a while. So I'm going to do a quick review of that if we all can take a moment to do that. First Amendment says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peacefully to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Those are 5 fundamental pillars of the First Amendment. I'll repeat them. Freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, the right to assemble peacefully, and the right to petition the government. Myself, and I feel I can speak for this board, will never, nor should any government in this country, establish an official religion. We should never prohibit the free exercise of any religion. Myself and this board should encourage all religions to thrive, to practice, and to do what they want to do. Myself, and I think this board would agree, we are going to allow people in this community and across this country to speak freely, to express how they feel, verbally and in writing. Even if their views are critical of myself, this board, the administrator, or other people in this community, this state, or this country. They are entitled to that. Myself, and I believe this board, would say the press has a freedom to report on our local governance, our state governance, and our federal governance, whether we agree with what's being reported or not. As we all see on a weekly basis in our community, we have a group of people that assemble peacefully. We may not agree with what they're peacefully protesting, but they have that right. Myself, and I believe this board, believe that they should be allowed to do that. And the last thing, the people have the right to ask the government to correct wrongs or solve problems. And I think that is where we are today at the local level, the state level, and the federal level, is the public feels their problems are not being addressed in the way that they need to be addressed. That is why we have the turmoil we have, the inner fighting, the bickering, the pointing of fingers. We are to a point that we are boiling over, in my opinion. So I just wanted to revisit the First Amendment. I am not a history teacher, but I am a firm believer in what our forefathers put into print. The reason I'm bringing this up is I had a very long day of fielding emails, phone calls, and texts regarding an event that is hopefully going to move forward in this community by the youth theater program, and on behalf of the village, the Krampus event. I will be the first to say that I was not involved in any of the optics of the event, of any of the diagrams, the pictures, the displays, the signage. This was brought before me that the youth program had an interest to do an event. It revolved around Krampus. That was as far as I ever got in the process and knew. Okay? That is the full facts, the full transparency. I said to that group, if you need me for anything, please let me know. I was never brought back into the picture. This board was never brought into that conversation. We all need to understand how the process works here is we have electeds, we have an administrator, and we have staff. If everything of every detail came before this board, we would never get anything done in governance. We barely get anything done now, I think people would say. So there is a process. There is faith and there is trust put in the administrator and the staff to execute and do things on behalf of the community. program is involved, when any program is involved, those conversations are had. Maybe that process needs to be tweaked going forward so everybody can have a say and have input instead of the public and the outcry saying that this board is getting behind some malicious and deceitful, naughty Santa event. The reason I went through the First Amendment was, if this board, local governance, the state elected officials or the federal officials decide to start getting in the business of saying who can be in our public parks and who cannot be, I don't want any part to do with it, because that creates a real slippery slope on what is allowed to happen in our public spaces. We all have a different view on what should be there. We all have different feelings on religion, on all of the different items that potentially could be in that park. We've had a variety of different religious masses held in that park. We've had Halloween events held in that park. We've had Christmas events held in that park. I am not interested in censoring a youth theater group on something that they have a passion about and that they actually want to educate the community on. Going back to what I was saying about the graphics seem to be the big draw of the issue here. Krampus with his tongue out on a red and black poster. Again, could that have been done differently in a more tasteful fashion? Probably, actually, absolutely. We probably could have went about it with the Scandinavian history of the Krampus story. And with a different logo, maybe there is no uproar about it. I don't know. Again, we have human beings trying to do the best they can do at a staff level, deciding what is best on behalf of a youth theater group. I am not interested in censoring anybody in any capacity. I know there are board members up here who have repeatedly said they would not be censored in any fashion. So I'm just saying this could have been done differently. It could have been done better. We learn from things that we do wrong. We do need to hear from the public, and I've appreciated every person that's reached out to me, out to me today. Most of it has been out of concern and some negativity, but there's also been positives in it. And I think as long as we're open to listening to both as elected officials, that's all we can do to get better at putting these things out. So, with that being said, I wanted a quick refresher of the First Amendment. I think it covers everything I just said. I want the public to know that this board, myself, my family, your families, we are not malicious, deceitful, Santa-hating, Christian-hating individuals. We were attempting to do something different on behalf of a youth theater group. Going forward, we will address things in a different way. We may tweak how events are approved. We will work through all this. So I appreciate everybody that has reached out. I appreciate everybody listening here and at home on my little impromptu speech to start our meeting. To that, let's all stand and pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,